Hello, welcome back to the Fracking Farmhouse, where today we'll be talking seismic activity, or earthquakes as they call it in the British Geological Survey, because recently they restarted fracking in the UK after a 7-year hiatus. They stopped because it produced earthquakes, and guess what? It's produced earthquakes again. Yep, this is the British Geological Survey, and earthquakes around the British Isles in the last 100 days, and that's the furthest in the past. And as we're going back, we're going forward in time, and then you go here. This is where they restarted. So we were getting earthquakes in central North Sea, southern North Sea, Workington, Cumbria, and then you come up and then you start fracking, and I've highlighted the ones at Blackpool, Lancashire, caused by Preston New Road. Oh boy, the ground's been shaking in Lancashire, hasn't it? And after the last debacle, when they tried fracking in Lancashire at Priest Hall, and the well got deformed and they had to abandon it because of the earthquakes, the industry sat down with government and they made a regulation, and they said if it goes over 0.5 we will stop fracturing. It's gone over 0.5 several times. You see, the thing is, once it goes over 0.5, that's caused by all this liquid and the chemicals and sand in the rocks, and they've opened it up, and then it goes over 0.5 and they have to stop, and when they take the pressure off you get another earthquake. So it's not that safe. But the problem with Quadrilla have been complaining, because when these things have happened before, they've fractured the rock enough to get economic quantities of gas out, because they're opening up the fissures, it sets off an earthquake, they haven't got enough sand in, and they have to stop. So they're not too happy about this. So their response is they've gone to the government and they said, it's not economic to do it like this, will you change the goalposts please? So that's the first thing, is like, we were told we have gold standard regulation, it won't happen again because we've got this traffic light system. As soon as it goes wrong, they've said, change the goalposts, please move them.
His constituents will have been told that there are massive seismic risks from any form of shale gas exploration. In fact, our environmental standards are so tight that if there is a seismic tremor less than that brought around by the roller coaster on Blackpool seafront, that well process, well, he says, come on, it happens to be true, then that well will have to be paused, because I go back to the fact that we have the toughest environmental standards for oil and gas extraction in the world. They are standards that other countries are coming to us and saying, could we use those? Because we also recognise the opportunity from shale gas extraction. And I think anyone in this room who believes that the UK, with its proud history of environmental regulation, would want to do anything with our green and pleasant lands to endanger them, I frankly think needs to go away and have a nice cold drink. I'll give way to
Claire Perry, not the brightest button, it must be said, has actually looked round at all us protesters and all the people on it and said, we can't do that at the moment. So at the moment they're in a bit of a bind. We've had another response, a letter in the press from our old friend Natasha Engel. Remember the one who spent all of Easter, here's her letter, all of Easter deciding that fracking's safe. And she says, oh, don't get so worried about this, because you won't feel them. And there are quarries in Derbyshire. Quarry blasting is common in Derbyshire and causes earth tremors many times greater than fracking. In fact, blasts in the Peak District in August was so strong that it was picked up by Quadrilla's equipment at 1.7. Wow. But it wasn't reported because it had nothing to do with fracking. It wasn't reported because, yes, it was nothing to do with fracking, because it was on the surface, because there weren't high pressures underground blasting rock, and when you took the pressure off, it's a surface thing, Natasha. And you see, what Natasha doesn't understand is this isn't about surface blasting. This is about fracturing rock to release gas with chemicals. And if this gas comes back up to the surface in any other way than through the well bore that you've drilled, we're going to poison the aquifers, we're going to poison the water, or we'll get leaks to the air and poison the air. So this is what it's about. It's not about whether you can feel these earthquakes in your house or whether your house falls down. That's not going to happen. But these earthquakes will produce pathways for the toxins that are generated by fracking to come to the surface, or even worse, to get into the water courses. That's why they stopped it, because the well was deformed in Priest Hall. And yes, you can't feel this at the surface, but down there you can break pipes and you can create pathways for poisonous gases to come to the surface and poison your water. That's why you need a traffic light system, why you need to stop. And while that is in place, why fracking is non-economic in this country. And what Quadrilla want is they want the regulatory system changed to that one of the US, where they allow much bigger earthquakes and the water's been poisoned. Have a look at Dimmock in Pennsylvania, because there the tap water is flammable. They denied for years that it was caused by fracking, but there was a moratorium in place. They had to stop fracking in Dimmock because the water was so bad. Then after a few years they said, oh, it's not so bad. They started fracking again and the gases in the water went up again. It's inextricably linked. You can't do fracking safely. We've now got evidence, because they've started fracking, that the protesters were right all along. It's not given us energy security, it's not given us hundreds of jobs, but it has made some very dangerous seismic activity that could very well poison the water. So stop fracking now before it's too late and someone gets hurt, please. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching the Fracking Farmhouse.
Calm and orderly, the flatlining landscape of northern Holland. Yet this area has brought the country to a national crisis. A farmhouse here, rigged with cameras, shows the frightening reality.
It's like a big truck rushing by. They just ran out of their houses. They were really scared. You don't know what's happening. It's like bang, and then it's gone again.
He was on school, and in the car back home he said, is our house still standing?
Over 1,000 mostly small earthquakes. Gas companies, government, geologists, everyone here agrees they're caused by gas extraction. Around 80,000 homes damaged by the cumulative tremors. More than 20,000 too dangerous to live in. 8 billion euros of damage, which the government and gas companies once insisted could never happen.